Here are your notes for section 3.4. We're going to be talking about slope, which is a review for you. You've already seen it in algebra, but a good reminder. Reminder also that you can pause the notes, you can pause the video, you can rewind it, you can watch it again, but please make sure you get all the information recorded into your notebook. With slope, main thing that we're going to be talking about is that slope is represented as rise over run. Always measuring how high or low something rises and falls compared to how fast it runs. The four main slopes, you'll have negative slopes, positive slopes, a zero slope, and an undefined slope. Negative slopes, always looking at a slope from the left side of the screen to the right. Just like the way that you would read, a negative slope would go downhill this way. If you can picture sitting at the top of this, you would have a downhill skier going down the slope, downhill skier. Downhill is negative. Positive, going uphill. Again, looking at the slope from left to right. So if you started over here at the left, now you've got a cross-country skier who's cruising up the hill that way. As you can see, they have their hats on backwards, so that when they go fast, they don't lose their hats. So positive slope, as you're going from left to right on the screen, it goes up, 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 uphill. Positive. A zero slope. You're skiing, but you're not going uphill or downhill. You're just skiing straight across. No slope, nothing hard to go uphill, nothing fast or fun to go downhill. You just cruise right across. That is a zero slope. And an undefined slope, that's a slope that doesn't even exist. It's when you don't have a run. If you don't have a run, you can't divide by it. An undefined slope would be a slope like this, straight up and down. If we're talking about our skiers again, here's our cross-country skier that's skiing with no hills. This is your cross-country skier that is dying because he's going off of the cliff. He is undefined at the bottom of the cliff if he tries to ski an undefined slope. So you have your negative, positive, zero, and undefined slope, all relating to your rise over your run. A formula, if you're going to calculate a slope, if you don't have a diagram, you don't have a picture, all you have are 2 points. Those 2 points, like you've seen with midpoint formula and the distance formula, you've seen 2 points, an x1, y1, and an x2, y2, meaning you have 2 different x's, 2 different y's. Well, to find the slope, you're going to take the second y and subtract the first y, divided by the second x, subtract the first x. Notice how those match. Rise matches with y's. The run is the x's. If you're looking at those on a graph, here's your y's. Your y's are rising and falling. That's why they're in the numerator. Your run is your x's. You're running across the graph. That's your denominator. So these are all completely related to one another. So if we were going to find the slope, I'm going to label these for you the first time. I probably won't continue to label them for you. x2, y2. You're going to take your second y, 2, minus your first y, 6, divide it by your second x, subtract your first x. 2 minus 6 is negative 4. 5 minus 0 is 5. Your slope is negative 4/5. Reduce it if you can. Fractions are always reduced. Okay, if you want to find it by graph, 0, 6, 5, 2, you would graph them. Over 0, up 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Over 5, up 2. There's your line. If you want to go by graph, you're going to count. How far did you rise or fall? How far did you run? My rise is 1, 2, 3, 4. And I did go down 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Run 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Rise over run. You still get negative 4/5. Now, what if you were standing here and you wanted to count from this point to that point, you could still find the same slope. If you counted rise 1, 2, 3, 4, you would rise 4, but you would now run left 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you go left 5, you still have a negative. Whether you write negative 4/5, 4 over negative 5, or negative out in front, 4/5, those three all are the same. You're going to get the same slope whether you count from bottom to top or top to bottom. It is a downhill slope. Your skier would go downhill, therefore it's negative. And if I may back up to your slope up here when you found it, let's say you decided, no, I want this to be my second x and my second y. And you're going to put your first x and your first y over here. We do the same math. y2, 6, minus y1, which is 2. x2, 0, minus 5. 6 minus 2 is 4. 0 minus 5 is negative 5. Again, you still have a matching slope. So doesn't matter on which point you start and which point you finish, as long as you stay consistent, you will get the same slope every time. Always double check, downhill, negative. It's a quick check to make sure you did your negatives correctly. So now we're going to take these slopes and talk about vertical lines. Two non-vertical lines, or we'll talk about parallel lines. Two non-vertical lines. Vertical meaning like this. Okay, two lines who are not vertical are parallel if and only if they have the same slope. If two lines have exactly the same slope, they are going to be parallel lines. Okay, here's one of those that you heard before. You heard this in algebra. Parallel lines have the same slope. But that's only half true. You have to use this word non-vertical. Two non-vertical lines are parallel if they have the same slope. We just talked about these vertical lines. Vertical lines don't even have a slope. Okay, if I go back up here and look at this, they're undefined. This vertical line where the guy's going to die off of the cliff, that doesn't have a slope. So you can't tell me that two vertical lines have the same slope if they don't even have a slope. They are parallel. All vertical lines are parallel because they are all undefined slopes. But they don't have the same slope if a slope doesn't even exist. So we're going to take a point like that and see which are parallel to it. So we'll start this one with y2, negative 10, minus y1, minus 8, over x2, 12, minus 12. Negative 10 minus 8 is negative 18. 12 minus 12 is 0. When you find the slope and you divide by 0, try it. Your calculator will tell you that it doesn't exist. It'll tell you you have an error. It might even explode in your hand if you try to do that. Probably not. But negative 18 divided by 0, I get an error, divide by 0. Calculation fails. This calculator is a little fancier than yours is, but you cannot divide by 0. You will answer this question is that it is undefined. Anytime you divide by 0, it is undefined. You are not allowed to leave it as negative 18 over 0, and you're not allowed to say no slope. You must say that it's undefined. So, which are parallel? Let's do a little bit more math. We'll do this one. Negative 2 minus negative 6 divided by negative 3 minus negative 9. Watch out for your two negatives. Two negatives make a positive, and you get 4 over 6. Not an okay answer. Can't leave it as 4 over 6. Your slope for this one is 2/3. And again, if I'm going through these too fast, pause the video and get it written down. Try this one. Negative 10 minus 18. Divide that by 0 minus 12. Negative 12 minus 18 is negative 28. 0 minus 12 is negative 12. A negative divided by a negative is a positive, and if that reduces, because you can't leave it like that, divide them both by 4, you get 7 over 3. Those two lines are definitely not parallel. They do not have the same slope. Let's try the third line. 3 minus 5, y2 minus y1, over negative 3 minus 0. 3 minus 5 is negative 2. Negative 3 minus 0 is negative 3. Two negatives make a positive, and you get 2/3. The question asked, which two lines are parallel? The blue one and the purple one. They have the same slope. 2/3 and 2/3. Rise 2, run 3. To answer that question, you need to find slope 3 times. So parallel and perpendicular, as you know, kind of go hand in hand. We're going to talk about those as well. Two non-vertical lines are perpendicular if and only if, that's an abbreviation, if and only if. Instead of writing it all out, IFF, it is not a misprint. If and only if the product of the slope is negative 1. That's one way to say it. You see the asterisk. If the product of the slopes is negative 1. That's also saying if they have opposite reciprocal slopes. If one line has a slope of 2/3, the other line needs to have a slope of negative 3 over 2. If one line has a slope of negative 4, the other line would need a slope of positive 1/4. Opposite and reciprocal. And again, it says non-vertical lines because a vertical line has an undefined slope. A vertical line has an undefined slope, so you can't find its opposite reciprocal. But what you can say right here is that horizontal lines are always perpendicular to vertical lines. Undefined is perpendicular to 0. They will form perfect right angles. So let's tell whether the lines that pass through these points, are they parallel, are they perpendicular, or are they neither? We'll find the first slope, 1 minus 3 over 3 minus 0. You get negative 2/3. We'll try this one, negative 3 minus 3 over 4 minus 0, you get negative 6 over 4, which reduces to negative 3 over 2. Are they parallel, perpendicular, or neither? Parallel would mean they have the exact same slope. Negative 2/3, negative 2/3. Perpendicular, they need to have opposite, meaning one positive and one negative, and reciprocal slopes. These are reciprocal slopes, negative 2/3 and negative 3/2, but they are not opposite reciprocals. This one would need to be positive. Therefore, this one is a neither. Neither parallel nor perpendicular. Let's check down here, and just for fun, I'm going to reverse the order that I do my slope. I'm going to call this my second point. So we'll call this y2 minus y1, 2 minus negative 1, x2, negative 1 minus 5. Two negatives make a positive. You get 3 over negative 6, which reduces to negative 1/2. Doesn't matter where you put the negative. It can be on the top, it can be on the bottom. Second one, I'll do the same here. 6 minus negative 2 over 3 minus negative 1. 6 plus 2 is 8. 3 plus 1 is 4. And 8 divided by 4 is 2, not 2 over 1. Always reduce as far as you possibly can. It's just 2. Taking a look at the two slopes, the opposite of a negative is a positive, and the reciprocal of 1 over 2 is 2. Therefore, these two are perpendicular. Remember the symbol for perpendicular.